All right, I think we can go ahead and get started. I think we're maybe 30 seconds early, but I don't hear anybody running up the stairs and got a couple folks in the room already, so let's go ahead. Welcome to the City of Helena Zoning Commission meeting. Today is October 8th. We are being recorded tonight, just for everyone's awareness. And April, will you please do a roll call for us?
Absolutely. Chair Harbage,
Here.
Ms. Sorensen,
Here.
Ms. Story, here, Mr. Rundy,
Present.
Ms. Anderson is absent. Something I just thought of that we should probably do is elect a new vice chair. We'll put that on the agenda for the next.
Time. That sounds good. Perfect. Thank you, April. It does appear that we have a quorum, so we can go ahead and move forward. For those who are not familiar, the Zoning Commission is traditionally a 5-member board, so we do require 3 members to be present to have a quorum. We will proceed down through our agenda tonight, starting with our regular items. We have 1 item for public hearing, and the way that works at the Zoning Commission is we'll have a presentation from staff. Commissioners will then be invited to ask questions of staff if needed. We will then invite the applicant or the applicant's representative to present if there's anything they wish to share. It is certainly not required. We'll close that portion of the hearing and then open up public comment. If there is any public comment, we'll take that and then move on to commission discussion and motion and vote. And just as a reminder for those joining us tonight, the Zoning Commission is an advisory board. We make recommendations to the City Commission. And so then this would move on to a hearing before the City Commission after we close tonight. So with that, I will invite city staff. Looks like we have Director Brink with us tonight.
Good evening, Chair and members of the Commission. Chris Brink, Community Development Director, filling in for Michael Alvarez. I've allowed staff to attend conference, so I am filling in for everyone. So bear with me as I go through Mike's presentation and the information slides for this case. So this is a CUP for 328 North Rodney, conditional use permit to allow for a general service use in an R3 zoning district. Again, consideration of a resolution granting conditional use permit to allow general services use in an R3. The property is legally described as all of Lot 2 and the south 30 feet of Lot 3. And this is in Block 436 of the Allen addition to the City of Helena, Lewis and Clark County. And again, this is addressed as 328 North Rodney. Property is generally located on the northwest corner of the intersection of North Rodney and 7th Avenue. The current use is as a residence and single dwelling unit. The intention for this application is the operation of a private outpatient mental health therapy clinic, primarily for children and families. The existing structure is freestanding, 2-story single dwelling unit built approximately 1910. The applicant has no plans to make alterations or modifications to the exterior of the building other than site improvements that are required for parking and ADA accessibility requirements. A couple definitions to consider. So for the land use definition of general services, it is professional and personal care services where customers come to the property for service, including but not limited to photography, fitness, weight loss, postal, hairstyling, pet grooming, copying and printing, laundry, dry cleaning services, and tattooing establishments. And this is as defined in our zoning ordinance. The R3, the definition for the R3 zoning district is a district which provides for the development of a mixture of residential structures, to serve varied housing needs, and it does allow limited compatible non-residential uses. This site, while it's not under a neighborhood plan, it is under the guidance of the growth policy. The future land use for this area of the city is designated as mixed use, and that area is defined as places where people can work, live, and play and learn. These areas include a variety of complementary and integrated uses such as, but not limited to, all forms of residential, office, light industrial and manufacturing, retail, entertainment, or public uses. Development is usually in a denser comprehensive pattern to achieve a unified, functional, efficient, and aesthetically appealing physical setting, and provides opportunities for connectivity, public transportation, and walkability. Mixed-use areas do not use a traditional segregation of uses. Excuse me. The applicant has no plans for alterations as stated just a little while ago to the exterior of the building, but there will be some site improvements required to comply with our minimum parking requirements, as well as accessibility from the parking and to the building. And there will also be some fire code requirements as well that will have to be met. The site will be altered again to provide parking between the two drive approaches that you see on their attached site plan. But the city does request a couple conditions. That sidewalks be installed to city standards along the frontage of 7th Avenue. I think they're not in disrepair, but they do not meet minimum requirements relative to accessibility. And that parking access off 7th Avenue, that those drive approaches be improved to current city standards. And there are no proposed changes to landscaping, signs, or lighting that's on the site. A couple site photos to note some broken sidewalk along the frontage with 7th Avenue, as well as the two drive approaches, which do not meet current city requirements. Some additional site photos taken by staff. These are looking north and south along Rodney, as well as on 7th looking to the west. This information is in your packet as well, but this is just a quick survey of the property as it exists today, as well as the original Allen Edition plat map to the city of Helena. So for informational purposes, this is located in Chapter 11, Title 3, Section 4 of the zoning ordinance regarding conditional use permit criteria. And I will read these for the record just so we can have them for the public. But I will probably paraphrase, so bear with me. Conditional use permit may be granted by the City Commission only upon the finding supported by substantial credible evidence in the record that the following standards are met. Conditional use as conditioned will not adversely impact public health, safety, or the general welfare. Proposed conditional use will not adversely impact the peaceful use of existing property or improvements in the vicinity. And then in consideration whether Section 1134A1 and A2 standards are met, which those that I just read, the following factors must be considered in determining the impacts of the conditional use on abutting properties and the neighborhood in general. The location, character, and natural features of the subject property, the type and size of the proposed structure and improvements relative to their location on the property, any historical uses, established use patterns, and recent changes and trends of the neighborhood, conformity of the use with the neighborhood plan, which there's not one as stated, so this would follow along the requirements of the growth policy. Current and proposed pedestrian, vehicular, and bicycle traffic, including ingress and egress, whether the use is consistent with the Helena Climate Change Action Plan, whether the proposal meets the zoning dimensional standard requirements for the zoning district without the need for a variance, the use's hours of operation, impact on noise, glare, and odor, and then finally express public opinion related to the factors identified above. These factors should be weighed and evaluated depending on the circumstances of each case. This case stands on its own, and any one factor may be sufficient to find adverse impacts for purposes of Section 1134A1 and A2, which is what I read at the beginning. So here are the staff's findings relative to these factors that I just read. The proposed use will require modifications to the site and the structure because this is conversion of a residential into a general services use. Does trigger site requirements, site improvements. And for this, as I mentioned, along the frontage of 7th will require sidewalks to be upgraded and rebuilt according to ADA and PROAG requirements. Structure improvements will be required relative to ingress and egress, ADA accessibility, as well as some interior improvements, interior access, and ADA compliant restroom facilities, installation of a parking area, which I mentioned, and then upgrading to drive approaches onto 7th. As I mentioned earlier, growth policy designates this area as mixed use. And those are places where people can work, live, play, and learn. The estimated trips generated by typical general use services in the building are higher than what's expected from residents, but not particularly for this particular use. The estimated trips per day are below the amount required for traffic study, however, and the estimated trips per day are not expected to have significant impact on the adjacent right-of-way. Adjacent subject property is required to have 7 parking spaces. And while it has off-street parking of 3 of the 7 will be on-street parking as allowed by city code. Subject property will need to create an ADA parking space on site. We don't anticipate any increase in noise level. Business activities will be within the building and will operate during normal business hours. No new exterior lighting is proposed that will be typical of a residential area. And there should be no odors. And if there are some, they'll be expected to be in line with typical office uses. It would not be expected to necessarily be worse than existing single dwelling use. We did receive some comments by city departments, and those typically related to the update and reconstruction of ADA compliant sidewalks and the drive approach. Fire did just mention that it would have to comply with the current fire code because of the change in use. And then building, any changes to the building would require a permit, upgrading the toilet rooms, and then the route and threshold into the building. Address had no comments, Public Works no comments, Parks no comments. HCC, city attorney, and HPD did not provide any comments. So public notice and comments. This was legally noticed as required by state statute and city code. And it ran in the Helena Independent on September 21st. In addition, we did provide community notices, neighborhood notices to all owners within 150 feet. That letter was dated September the 20th. Sign notice was placed on North Rodney at the intersection of, and this is poor copy and paste, but on the corner of North Rodney and 7th, and that was actually posted on September 20th as well. Comments were received. As of last Friday when this PowerPoint was drafted, we had received 2 comments. And as of today, we've not received any additional other than those 2. And April, correct me if I'm wrong, did the commission provide, get a copy of those 2 comments? Okay, fantastic. So to conclude, based on staff's findings, staff does recommend that the zoning commission move to recommend approval to the city commission of a resolution granting a conditional use to allow general services in an R3 zoning district for property legally described as all of Lot 2 in the south 30 feet of Lot 3 and Block 436 of the Allen addition to the city of Helena, Lewis, Clark County, Montana, with the 4 following conditions, building permit must be obtained within 1 year, bringing the building into compliance with all ADA or all applicable municipal, state, and federal requirements relative to ADA. The sidewalk and drive approaches along 7th be replaced and upgraded to current city standards and public right-of-way accessibility guidelines, otherwise known as PROAG standards. Off-street parking will be installed per the submitted plans option 1, which is in your packet, and meet all associated landscaping and screening requirements. And then the 3 conditions above, all conditions shall be met within 1 year of CUP approval per 1139 of Helena City Code. Thank you, Chair. I talked quick. Hopefully I didn't just gloss over anything, but there's questions. always available.
Other questions for Director Brink? I have a couple just to clarify. So you mentioned that there are no plans to alter or modify the exterior of the building. And I think that's something that we hear in these CUP hearings quite often. But just to clarify for the record, they don't propose to alter or modify the exterior of the building, but in hearing this CUP, we are not in some way precluding them from doing so should they opt to in the future.
That is correct.
And then similarly, they don't propose any new exterior lighting, but through this action, we are not prohibiting any new exterior lighting.
Chair Harbage, that is correct. Any lighting, of course, would have to meet city code requirements relative to light trespass and flood candles.
Right, thank you. Any other questions for staff?
What were the estimated trips per day?
Thank you, Chair and Commission member. So I'll have to go through the staff report. I believe for just a typical general service, not relative to the particular use, I think it's estimated anywhere between 23 and 26 vehicle trips a day would be generated from a typical general service use. However, just based on the application and the applicant's proposal, I would estimate it would probably be similar to what a single family dwelling would be, which would be 9.
Any further questions for staff? Not seeing any. Thank you. At this time, we'll invite the applicant or applicant's representative if would like to speak. Please. Yeah, just for folks who might be joining online in the recording. Thank you. And if you don't mind just stating your name.
Yeah, my name is Hannah Nixon. I don't think I have anything to add that wasn't already explained. I do think it's going to be a pretty quiet place because much of what we do is via telehealth. I'm a psychologist and I do neuropsych testing. So when I get a kid, I'm spending 5 hours with that kid. And so I have very few, like I have a low frequency of patients per day. And then my other provider, about half of her services are done via telehealth. No weekends, no evenings, no early mornings. So I think it'll be hopefully a low impact on the community.
Thank you. I do
Yeah.
have one quick question for you. Just, I couldn't tell from the site plan. We did get comments about the potential for traffic issues on the alley. Is
Yeah,
there
there
an
will be
approach
no
on the
entrance.
alley?
There's
Okay.
no vehicle entrance there.
Okay, thank you.
So it's just on 7th that there will be a entrance and exit that way.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we will now move on to public comment. Is there any public comment on this item?
So for the record, there's no one online other than city staff.
Okay,
And if there's anyone in the room, you can come forward now.
all right, for the record, we are not seeing anyone in the room coming forward for public comment and there's no one online. So we will go ahead and close the public comment portion, recognizing that we did get 2 written comments in advance of the hearing, and we'll open it up to commission discussion or motion.
I'd make a motion, but I need assistance.
Oh, can we go back?
So,
to this?
Director Brink, if you wouldn't mind putting that back, the recommended motion language up on the screen, that would be helpful.
Thank you.
I would make a motion to recommend or to approve a resolution granting a conditional use permit to allow a general services use in an R3 residential zoning district for the property legally described as all of Lot 2 in the south 30 feet of Lot 3 in Block 436 of the Allen Edition of the City of Helena, Lewis and Clark County, Montana, with the following conditions. A building permit must be obtained within 1 year, bringing the building into compliance with all applicable municipal, state, and federal requirements, and specifically the American with Disabilities Act. 2, sidewalk and drive approaches along 7th Avenue will be replaced as city and public right-of-way accessibility guidelines standards. Off-street parking for 3, off-street parking will be installed for the submitted plans option 1 and meet all associated landscaping and screening requirements. And 4, all conditions shall be met within 1 year of CUP approval as per 1139 of Helena City Code.
Second.
Has been moved and seconded to recommend approval of the resolution before us. Is there discussion on the motion? I will just add a few comments. Just reading through this, and listening to Director Brink present, this sounds like a fairly low impact use that does appear to complement the residential neighborhood. I appreciate the comments about walkability, which is desirable in a mixed use area. Adding this type of a service to a neighborhood does increase walkability. And it, to me, strikes me as an appropriate use for this historic neighborhood. Any further discussion?
I guess I would concur with that, and that I think fits well with our designated mixed use designation for this area to work, live, play, learn. And also, this is not so far from existing businesses that are retail, food, bars, and other businesses are just up the street. And then further, it's pretty close to downtown. So I think this is a good mix between residential and business and general services.
Any further discussion?
Yeah, it's not uncommon to see a lot of these older houses get turned into office use, different uses. So I think it makes sense between downtown and the Prospect 11th Avenue area.
Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor of the motion say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. This will be heard before the city commission. Know the date. In the near future.
Chair Harbage, members of the commission, and applicant, and public that may be on, typically this is within 30 days of this date.
Okay.
So I would
Perfect.
anticipate this time in November, this would be heard by the
Okay.
city commission.
Thank you, Director. And thank you folks for being here tonight. That closes the hearing on regular item number 1. That was our only item for public hearing, and I realized in my rush to get to it, I skipped over approval of our minutes. We do need to go back and approve our August 13th, 2024 minutes. Are there any edits to the minutes? Oh, seeing none, the minutes are approved as drafted. Thank you. We will jump down the agenda now to public comment. If there is any public comment on any topic that is pertinent to the zoning commission, please feel free to speak now.
Still only city staff online.
Okay. Moving on, then we will get to our member communications and proposals for our next agenda. And as we heard at the top of the meeting, we do need to include an item to elect a vice chair at our next hearing. Unfortunately, we lost, well, we didn't lose him. He's still around and alive and very healthy. But Commissioner Wilson is no longer a part of the
He
commission.
served this commission for quite a number of years and very well. And I just wish we had had one more meeting with him.
Mhm.
So I will get that on the agenda for the next meeting. Next meeting is scheduled for November 12th.
Okay.
However, I'm not certain if there will be anything for you to hear. The last application we got in for any zoning matters came in after the deadline for November. So I would anticipate we'll have a meeting in December.
I will not be.
There will not be.
I will not be present.
Oh, in December?
December. To
Well,
elect a vice chair.
well, then we will just follow the procedure that we would if there are no officers present, we will select an acting chair and then we'll go from there.
Okay, that sounds good.
That's a quorum.
3 of us will have to be here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Other-
If you're not available, and let me look up that date. I know December can get tricky That'll be December 10th. Check your calendars, let me know if we need to reschedule. That gives us plenty of time. If not, we'll meet in January and we'll just have a nice long break.
And I would just offer that if anyone is interested in being vice chair, I'm happy to sit down and chat about what that looks like, if you aren't already aware. So just reach out.
And also, if you have not completed board training this year, the next board training is October 17th. It's being held right here in the city county building. So please do attend because until you complete it, if you haven't, then you're not a voting member.
All right. Thank you. Is there anything else in terms of member communications or announcements? All right. We're at the end of the agenda and we are adjourned. Thank you.